Hello and welcome to the Friday bonus edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I get to do just that. Once a week we take a journey into cryptic crossword world, and I get to do the Times crossword live for you, or try to do it at least. Today's puzzle is harder than usual, which is not unusual for a Friday. Friday tends to be the hardest puzzle of the week, but it's not monstrous. Although I did get an email from my friend Robert Chewton, who told me that it has got some quirks today. What did he say? He said something like it will play to the strengths of people who are good at barred crosswords rather than crosswords with sort of black squares in. So I don't know what that means. And I don't have any news for you. I don't have any birthdays to do the special crossword birthdays. At least I don't. Oh, hang on. I should just check that, because sometimes people do ask just to have their birthday read on. Oh, I'm going to risk it. I think it's all right. Hopefully I'll be okay. Hopefully I'm not missing anyone's birthday. But let's get cracking. Here we go. Here's the puzzle. Hopefully I've got the window in the right place. It all looks okay, I think. Right, one across. Way of working. That's probably modus operandi. Let's stop there. Way of working. MO, modus operandi. Among East Germans, a kind of infiltration. Well, I want that to be osmosis. East. I thought East in German, in the language German, was Ost. That could be completely wrong. Way of working among. I think it probably is some sort of formation like osmotic. No, that's nonsense. Let's see if we can justify an O at the start of one down. Invest in merger of Chelmsford and Aintree. Okay, well I can do this one. And we talk every week about the fact that there is normally a so-called hidden clue in every Times cryptic crossword. I remember when I was a boy and I started to solve the Telegraph crossword. That was the newspaper that my grandparents got. So this was my first sort of adventure into this world. And I learnt that there were such things as hiddens. And all I could do at the start was literally read all the clues, and I would look at the gaps between words and try and find the hidden. And this hidden would have foiled me, because this is a hidden clue, and there's normally one of these in every Times crossword, but it's a little bit sneaky. So it talks about a merger. Well, it's saying that in a merger of the two words, Chelmsford and Aintree, you can find a word that means invest. Now, it might not be a meaning of invest that you typically see, but if you chop out the and we put the word Chelmsford next to the word Aintree, and then you read in the middle, you would see spelt out ORDAIN. And to ordain, if you ordain a priest, you invest them. In fact, I have got my dictionary. Let's have a quick look at that. So to invest, it's going to say, well, there you go, to clothe with insignia of office, to place in office. So, in fact, it's quite interesting that the word invest doesn't have as its first definition the way that we would normally use that word nowadays, which is, of course, to lay out money for a profit. Anyway, so that's ordain, and we justify the S. Could we justify an M? Deer meat must be venison. Deer meat filleted. Cajun stews. Okay, well that's quite interesting. It does justify the M, but okay, so deer meat is begging you to think venison, exactly as I did. Notice that venison is 7 letters, and then desperately try and justify how venison is derived from the wordplay, which we won't be able to do because the answer is not venison. And as usual, most of the trick to solving these puzzles is to be able to split the clue in the perfect place. I did wonder whether at some point I could go through the Times crossword and just pull out all the definitions and create a definition version of the Times crossword. And then people could try the definition-only version and see how easy it was or how difficult it was. But probably it would be relatively doable, I think. It's just, so what we have to learn to do is to filter all the I'm going to call it nonsense, but all the wordplay out. So if I told you that this was a word that meant deer, you'd have to be thinking of varieties of deer here. Now, you might have heard of a deer. Well, I'll tell you how the clue works. If we fill it the word meat, that means we sort of remove its innards. So we get M and T. Then we've got the word Cajun, and MT and Cajun are stewed, so they're anagrammed. So we need an anagram of MT and Cajun that means a type of deer. And there is a type of deer. I have it in my garden sometimes called a muntjac. It's a funny word when you write it down like that, but it is a word, I believe, and that is a type of deer. So this is it's looking more like osmotic or I don't know. Let's see if we can get this letter. No, we should try and use the crossing letters, shouldn't we? So let's try 9 across first. After restructuring, I'm immediately thinking this is an anagram. If you restructure a word, that suggests to me you can anagram it. Modernization, that's too many letters. But modernization with is excluded says take the I and the S out of the word modernization. That would give us the right number of letters. And that's going to be for figure below the line. Now, what's that? Is that something like denominator or something? Must be, mustn't it? I think it's a denominator. Denominator. That is the figure on the bottom half of a fraction. I think that's how you spell it. So that feels like that's the right answer. What's this going to be? Inject, maybe? 11 across. Oh, where verdict is considered wrong. Unjust. Where verdict. Oh no, injury. Where the verdict at a trial is considered is in the jury, and if you say in jury together or put it together, you get injury, and then injury is a wrong. That's lovely. Clever clue. 14 across. Screen something uplifting. That'll whet the appetite. Curtain raiser. That must be right. Curtain is a screen, and something uplifting is a razor. Put it together, a curtain raiser, that's something that whets the appetite. So now we have got letters in 3 down. So let's go to this. Not all in country united in support of southern ruler right. Not quite all. Gosh, there's a lot going on there. Not all in. What did I think this might be? A T or an S? I want it to be sombreros. That's the word I can think of that fits there. Not all in country united in support of southern ruler right. Southern. Well, semi. I've got it. I've got it. Okay. How did I get this? This is probably quite instructive actually, because I was clueless about this clue. As you could probably tell, for several seconds or half a minute or more. But I saw the word united, and I know united can be U, as in Man United, it might be Man U. That didn't do it for me, but I saw that was in support of. Now, in a down clue, something that supports another word would be beneath it. It would be underneath it, wouldn't it? Propping it up. Of southern. Right, southern is typically S in cryptic crosswords, so that suggests I need to put an S quite high up in this word. Now, where could it go? Well, it is going to have to go at the start, because none of these other positions look incredibly likely. And then we see the word ruler. Now, do I know any short synonyms for rulers that could fit now in this word? I do know one, and it's an emir, and that was enough. Once we get semi at the start of this, it becomes tractable, because then we can say semi-rural, and semi-rural is not all in the country. It has got a U in it. Okay, and right is R, as in left and right, and not quite all is not quite all of the word all. So we chop off its last letter. We get semi-rural, so osmosis is still looking good. Function, sign, S-I-N-E, without appearing in court. Okay, sine. I think sine in Latin, and therefore in court, where they use Latin words a lot, does mean without. I think. I'm very bad at Latin. I never studied Latin. Although the school that I went to when I became a teenager did make me do an entrance exam in Latin, even though I'd never done it. I'm presuming that exam result was bad. Anyway, one across. Way of working. So that must be modus operandi. I'm very confident about that. Among East Germans. And then A, kind of infiltration. East German. I mean, it must be Osmo. It's not ways of working, so it must be maybe OSS can be East in German. But then that would be is. Unless OSSIS or sis. I don't like that at all. I really don't. I don't recognise that as. I mean, it's a long time since I've done any German. I also hadn't done German when I did the entrance exams, but I don't think I had to sit an entrance exam in German. I had to do one in French, I remember, and I'd barely done any French. I mean, osmosis, I feel, is a kind of infiltration. It's sort of a permeation, isn't it? It's how you pick up things by osmosis. They sort of seep into you. So I like osmosis as an answer for the definition. I just don't understand. But that might just be ignorance, and probably is ignorance. Ossis. Could that be the... Or maybe... Oh, here's another thought. Maybe OSSI is a word for somebody who comes from East Germany. And then Ossis plural would be East Germans, literally. I mean, it couldn't be osmoses, could it? I don't like that. I think I'm going to have to go with this and accept my ignorance. So, right, I will rely... Hopefully it's right. If it's not right, then obviously that's awful. But anyway, let's move on. 5 down. Energy outfit in the past, controlling Midwestern state. Energy outfit in the past. Controlling Midwestern state. Some put up and set up and set energy. Get up and go. Oh, gosh. Again. And that's really interesting in light of what I said earlier, which is if this clue had just been clued as energy, I think I would have got it much more quickly. But because you sort of reading energy outfit, I was thinking ESSO for some reason in the past. ESSO, I think, still exists, doesn't it? Controlling Midwestern states. So how does this work then? Outfit. Outfit is your get-up. It's what you wear. In the past is a go. Controlling Midwestern state is North Dakota. ND. Good grief. That's a bit mean. Okay, but that's going to be right. So let's have a look at 5 across. Wander by Rockface to find duck. Wander by? I was wondering about gosling for a duck. Is that that's a small goose, isn't it? A gosling. Would that be a type of duck? Wander, could that be go? Is a rockface a sling? I don't think that's right, is it? Rockface is more like a, I don't know, crag or a bluff or something. I'm not sure about that one. Let's try 12 across. Soup on vacation. Okay, well that's telling us, I think, to vacate the word soup, to take out its insides, and that would give us SP, which looks lovely, doesn't it? Extremely chilled, or extremely chillied. Does that spice something? Extremely chillied is going to be spicy. Spice-tastic doesn't fit. Extremely chilled. icy, spicy. Is it iciest? Maybe it's, yeah, maybe it's just a sort of superlative. Spiciest. And so extremely chilled, I suppose you are the iciest if you are the most chilled person, and the most chillied person, spiciest. Now that gives us a chance with 6 down. Cook, base of pilaf, mainly in Greek style. Okay, well this is going to be something like Doric, as in a style of Greek architecture. Oh yeah, okay, so it's cook. If you do something, if I do my spaghetti bolognese, I cook it. Admittedly, none of you would want to eat it, but that's different. And then base of pilaf, well, pilaf is pilaf rice, I think. So it's the main part of the word rice. That just gives us Rick. We get Doric, which is a type of architecture, Greek architecture. Now, okay, my idea about Gosling has been blown out of the water. To find duck. Unless it's going to be something like Daffy Duck. I don't think it is. Wander by, go. Gad. I mean, if you gad about, you wander. To gad is to wander, G-A-D. So then if I could think of a 4-letter word for a rock face that gave me a word for a duck. Gad. I don't know. My brain isn't telling me that. Let's try 7 down. Close-shaven cockney. Okay. Now, this is something that comes up a lot. It's a slightly strange one. But in cryptic crossword worlds, people from the East End of London, the Cockneys, drop their H's. So whenever you see a reference to a Cockney, you're probably looking for a word that begins with H that you can then cut out of the word to mean something else. Now, if you're shaven, you might describe yourself as hairless. And then, so a shaven Cockney would be airless, dropping his H. And that would give us this word, airless, which does mean close. If the atmosphere you're in is airless, you would describe it as stuffy, wouldn't you, and close. So let's try 10 across. Gun, rev. That's shown. I think that's right. If you gun an engine, you rev it. I think it's a double definition, this. And the front of a clergyman is a reverend, I think. So, yeah, shown in front of clergyman as in Rev, the Reverend Green. Might have been Rev Green, for the Cluedo fans among you. 8 down. Mountain flower. Could be mountain flower. Always read the word flower as flower, in case it's referring to a river. Mountain flower. On the right in bog. Ooh. Mountain. Short synonyms for mountain that come up: Alp and Ben, B-E-N. Mountain flower. On the right. On the right could be Tory, as in on the right of politics, you would be a Tory. In bog, lavatory. Oh, that's lovely. So I was totally right and totally wrong at the same time. So I said always read flower as flower because it could be a river. Well, here, something that flows down a volcanic mountain would be lava. And as somebody who's just re-watching The Lord of the Rings, Mount Doom definitely had lava flowing down it. And then lavatory is a bog. So it's clever because the clue's making you think of bog as in a fen or a marsh, whereas actually it's literally a toilet. So what's this then? A rock face. Blank A blank L. To find duck. I don't know. Now I'm thinking of Gandalf because Gandalf has got G, A, D, and L in it. It's not Gandalf. Wander by rock face. A rock face isn't a fall, is it? I don't think it is. You get a rock fall, but it's not the same as a face. Gad. Let me just give this a second or two just to see if my brain can come up with something that's going to be useful there. Because I hate leaving this clue behind. I'm not going to get any more help for it. So Rock face. What word is it we want there? Wall? Rock face could be a wall. You know, you get climbing walls, don't you? And I think certain faces of mountains are sort of colloquially described as walls. Well, that would give us gadwall. How can that be a word? I mean, to wander, if it's not, it must be gad. That's my best guess for this. So this is very difficult. 1 across and 5 across are monstrous. If gadwall is right, that is monstrous. I'll come back and have another think about that later. Let's see if we can get 13 down. I think this is ambitious, given we've only got the checking A there. Digital file manager. Frenzied. That sounds like an anagram. So manager's probably anagram. Digital file. A digital file. Can we think of a 3-letter abbreviation for a digital file, like a doc or a MPV or something? Digital file. I'm not sure. And oh no, and I think I'm probably wrong anyway, because then it says and fastidious, blowing top. So that sounds like we need a word for fastidious, like fussy, that's going to lose its top letter. Give us an ending in ussy. Digital file. Manager frenzied. And okay, so maybe an anagram of manager at the start. That would give us. Oh, I don't know actually. All right, let's move on. If this is an I, because this word ends in ing, that puts pay to my anagram. My idea. This starts with an anagram of manager. 17. Take turns to go through this process for hiring public servants. Revolving door? Is that? I mean, I've heard of a revolving door as a sort of a way that people get employed and let go. I think it's just a cryptic definition, I think. It's a slightly odd one, that. Let's see if 15 down justifies the O. A martial artist getting into, say, skipping. A martial artist. Is that going to be Lee, as in Bruce Lee? I'm trying to think of. So again, my brain goes to, do I know any short synonyms for martial artists? Dan? I think Dan would be a bit harsh, because you would presumably have to be a skilled martial artist to be a Dan. A martial artist getting into, say, skipping. Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's try 16 down. Often a very useful. I mean, 16 down is sort of the equivalent of 1 across, isn't it? You get so many checking letters from it. One dealing with worsening cough. One dealing with worsening cough. I've got this. Wow, I like this clue actually. So I was trying to think of words for cough and failing a bit. I thought of hack, but then I thought a bad cough that sometimes children get is croup, and that got me my brain onto the right track all of a sudden, because I could see croupier as a possible answer, and one who deals in a casino, one who deals the cards would be a croupier, and if you were with a worsening cough, you would be croupier. In a sort of that's what the question mark is saying. There isn't a word croupier, which means with a worsening cough, but obviously linguistically one could view this as punning on that sort of thing. If you were croupier, you would have a worsening cough. So I like that very much. Let's try 18 down. Criminal, swapping as villain, presumably. Swapping one key for another. One's bound to work. Oh god. Okay, this there is a word for a serf, an old word for a serf. That's something like villain. It might be an E next. Swapping one key for another. So I think a villain, A-I-N, is a criminal. It swaps its musical key of A, I think, for E here. I'm not certain that this E is right, but I have come across a word that's like this before, that is something like a servant. So if the E was justified, I'd feel confident. Heads rolling in hire and fire. Ire will produce, okay, yeah. Will produce such anger. So if we cut off the head letters of the word hire or the word fire, we would get the word ire, and ire is anger. So I quite like this now. This feels right. Let's try 21. Criminal again. Criminal. Left inside country club. Country club is normally CC. Terrible. Ooh. Criminal. Unlawful. I like unlawful. I don't understand where my CC for country club is coming from there. Let's have a think about why this might be unlawful. Criminal, unlawful. Left, that's going to be L. Inside country club. Oh, okay, country club. No, okay, I was sort of right, but I was incomplete. When I said country club can be CC, that is true as an abbreviation. In fact, let's see if that is in fact in the dictionary and supported. I think it would be. Cricket club. Hang on. No, maybe it's not then. Well, I mean, if you're used to the LA Country Club is a famous golf course in America, and I'm pretty sure it's CC there, but okay, I can't see it justified. But a club of countries in a political sense would be the UN. So I think country club here is punning on the, yes, it is, isn't it? Because then we've got UN and awful for terrible with L inside. That's very nice as well. Let's see if we can use the W. Grow, desperate, protecting knight errant. Grow, okay, well, grow desperate. Yeah, it's wrong. Okay, grow desperate is saying what's a desperate form of the word grow, i.e. an anagram of it. That protects N for knight. Now, why is knight N? That is from chess scoring. When you write down the moves in a game of chess, the knight has the abbreviation N because the king takes the abbreviation K. And therefore, we put an anagram of wrong around N. We get wrong, and that certainly means errant. Now, what's this? Reneged? No. Call idiot in Asian capital. Oh, I know this. This is Asian capital. I think it's going to be the name of an Asian currency. And I should know this. And I think I do know it. I've just call idiot. Oh, what is this? Call is going to be ring, isn't it? Oh, this is annoying because I know this word. I didn't think it was double G in the middle of it, actually. An idiot is a... beginning with G, 3 letters, idiot. Oh, come on, Simon. How is it git? Ringgit, that rings a vague bell. That's quite a rude word, git. If that's right, it's quite a rude word, ringgit. I think that does ring a bell, the ringgit. I can't remember where it's a currency, but I think it is. What's this then? No, I was going to say capitulate, but it's not that. Capitulant. Oh, this is the digital file manager. Frenzied. Mad. Fastidious. Blowing top. I don't know. Let's see if we can get 26. Sounding sanctimonious in head to head. I haven't got a clue what that is. That's a bit of a terrifying one. Okay, so we need to get some of these checking entries. 19 down. More than one sheep. Gathering offspring. Wild garlic. Oh, goodness me. I mean, is this going to be... I mean, just to guess. Is that a word? More than one sheep, I'm thinking might be rams. Gathering offspring. One's offspring could be a son. Ramsons. That rings the vaguest bell. Is Ramsons wild garlic? Okay, I can now totally understand why Robert said that this crossword would play to the strengths of people who do barred puzzles, and that is because the vocabulary in this puzzle is pretty monstrous. I mean, accepting Gadwall might be wrong, but if Gadwall is right, villain, or however you say that, ringgit, Ramsons, these are all very hard words. Admittedly, many of them might be made up at this point. The other thing, actually, is I just stare at the grid, and this is sometimes a good trick. I can see a J in the grid there, and a lot of the words look weird. Just as I stare at the grid, I'm seeing unusual letters, W here. So I'm wondering whether this could be an attempt at a pangram, which is often a good thing to think about, because if we think at this point we haven't seen a Q or a Z, but we might need to see a Q or a Z, I mean, could that be a Q for some reason? Don't know. Let's see if we can justify the M. 23 agents, so I'm thinking spies, CIA, things like that. Detaining loony flipping in birthday suit. Loony must be mad, isn't it? In birthday suit. Well, that's going to be Adamic, I think. Now, that is not a word I knew existed, but I wonder if you are described as Adamic, does that mean you're like Adam in the Garden of Eden, in which case you haven't got any clothes on? And that I can justify the wordplay because I can put CIA around mad for loony, and then I flip the whole thing and I get Adamic. I quite like that. Didn't know it was a word, might not be a word, but it's let's add that to the coterie of nasty words we've found. 10 down. Fur, that's spotted, upset green group. Upset green, I'm thinking eco being reversed. Ocelot, that's right, an ocelot is a type of cat that probably has spotted fur. Upset green, if something's eco it's green, and then a group is a lot of people, or a lot. So, ocelot. Now, what's this then? Sounding sanctimonious. In head to head. What's this second word here? Oh, poll. Opinion poll? Oh, it is. Oh, that's actually. Okay, let's stop here. This is a brilliancy, this clue. So this is the best clue we've had in the time in these masterclasses for some weeks. Brilliant. Opinion poll is the answer. And again, I think I would have got this more quickly if I was given it as a quick crossword definition, and the definition here is just the word sounding. And if you take a sounding, you ask for people's opinions, don't you? So opinion poll is the answer. But the wordplay is brilliant. Sanctimonious. If you're sanctimonious, believe it or not, there is a short synonym for that, and that is the word pi, P-I, which is not only a Greek letter, and not only an abbreviation for private investigator. Look, let me find. Here we go. Pi. Obtrusively religious or sanctimonious. So when you see sanctimonious, think of PI. Again, doing these crosswords, it's all about having a big bank of short synonyms. So we've got PI in head to head. Well, head to head is such a lovely phrase because it's a very natural phrase, isn't it? But here we need two words that mean head. And we're going to, so a head is an onion. Your onion is sometimes colloquially described as your head. And pole is a word that's a head as well. So we put pie in onion and pole. Let's just look at pole. It's not only a parrot. I know it's it's got to be here. I'm sure it is. A head as a unit in numbering. The head. Yeah, there it is. The hair of the head. The head. So it is just right. And let's go and have a check of onion as well. Onion. The head. Slang. There we go. So we put onion and pole, put pie in the middle, opinion poll as a sounding. That's brilliant, isn't it? Now let's try that one then. Another criminal reference. Appropriate place for criminals. An appropriate place for criminals. I want it to be jail, obviously, or something, but it's not that. Appropriate. Too appropriate can mean to take. Place for criminals. Where would you say was a place for criminals? They are... I don't know. Okay, let's see if we can get the checking letter. Disorder, not so alien, in Parliament. Nesset, I'm thinking. I mean, it couldn't be that, could it? Is it that? Why? Disorder. Okay. God, I mean, this is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. This is right. So Knesset, which I think is the Israeli parliament. And the way this works is we need to think of a word that means disorder. And that word is like a disorder as in a disease. And if you have a disease, you have a sickness. And then we take a word that means so. We don't even take that word so. We have to think of a synonym for so, which is sick. Again, a Latin reference, S-I-C. And we take that out of sickness to give k-ness. We add to that an alien, E-T, and we get Knesset, which is, I think, the Israeli parliament. That is so hard. That is so hard. 24 down. Appropriate. Nick. Yeah, if you nick something, you appropriate it, you take it. And obviously a nick is a colloquial expression for a police station. So that's going to be right. Right, what is this? Avoidance. Skipping is avoidance. Where's my martial artist in this? A martial artist getting in. Oh, if you voice something, you say it. So avoidance is right. Oh, it is Dan. Good grief. Well, okay, let's check what the meaning of Dan is. I thought it was like a person who was very good at martial arts. Look at that, that's an interesting one. Dan is a title of honour, equivalent to Master or Sir, given to monks, and by the poets to great poets. Okay, in Japanese combative sports, a level of proficiency. I think it's like, I think it's a very high level of, you could describe a novice as having an elementary level of proficiency. I think Dan is somewhat better than that. But anyway, I suppose it is a martial artist. So a voice around Dan gives us avoidance. And we've got one left, but we've got lots that are difficult. So what's this? Manipulist or something? Well, that's interesting. I've had a thought about that. If digital literally doesn't just mean of computers and things, it means of your digits. So is it manicurist? Oh, that would be beautiful. Oh, imagine if digital file manager was a definition of somebody who did a manicure. Because they're managing you, they're using files to manage your digits. Oh, that's beautiful. That's going to be right. It's too clever not to be right. Manicurist. Right. Now, why? Frenzied. Manic. Manic is frenzied. And fastidious. Is that purist then? Blowing top. Or is it suggesting ringit's wrong? I do think ringit is right, though. It rings a vague bell. Okay, so it's not a pangram. I think this is going to be purist for fastidious. I think if you're described as purist, you could also be described as fastidious. So I think this is what I would submit. I'm going to have another think quickly about 5 across. This is, I think, the one I'm most worried about. I would be worried about this one, but I think confirming the E makes me feel better about it. So, do we think that there is a type of duck called a gadwall? Or is it another word for this rock face at the end that isn't wall? I mean, I really like gad. Wander by rock face. Oh. You know, I wonder about words like bale, because you do get a bailey wall, but I don't think bailey has the same etymology as bale, but I might be wrong. Gad bale, I mean, it sounds as nonsensical as gadwall, doesn't it? Wander by rock face. Gee. I don't think I'm going to come up with anything better. Okay, well, let's go for this. I mean, we've got a lot of dictionary work to do, whether this is right or wrong. I mean, there's so many things that we need to look up, but let's see. So we'll submit without leaderboard, because otherwise it upsets the snitch and everything. So that's okay. That was just a I don't mind that being wrong, because that's just me mistyping. I definitely said avoidance and explained that I wanted to type avoidance in, and my stats won't be damaged because I didn't submit with leaderboard. But this gadwall is obviously correct, so let's check it immediately. So let's start with gad, because that's a strange enough word. To wander about. There it is. I mean, I don't think many people know. I mean, gadabout is a word I know, but I mean, it's not even described as archaic. But I mean, how many people use gadabout nowadays? Not many, I don't think. Gadwall. There it is. The northern freshwater duck. I mean, this is the thing. I suspect loads of people will watch this video and go, "You're such an ignoramus, Simon. How do you not even know? How have you not heard of a gadwall?" Well, I just haven't. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just haven't. Okay, let's check some of these other ones. There was the villain word, which I think is a surf. I think I even said surf. So that's a good one. Now, what else was there? Oh, adamic. Let's have a look at adamic. There it is. Of or like Adam, naked. That's great. Let's check. Well, I mean, words like sick, S-I-C, coming out. I mean, so or thus from Latin. That's very hard. I mean, if you'd not heard of the Knesset as a parliament, that's almost unsolvable. Ringgit. Let's have a look at the ringgit. Standard monetary unit of Malaysia. There we go. Croupier. There's a lot of very clever clues in this. Opinion poll was brilliant. Croupier is very nice. I mean, Knesset is a very good clue. It's just very hard. Oh, let's have a look at. I mean, it's a bit naughty, I think. But git, was that described as an idiot or something? Yeah, it's got some fairly unpleasant connotations there. 27 across. It was idiot. I suppose fool and idiot. Manicurist is brilliant. Digital. I mean, that's one of the great. That especially in the modern world, that clue wouldn't have worked as well. Sort of 20 years ago, before the advent of before computers became so ubiquitous, but maybe 30 years ago. But now, digital file manager being associated with a manicure it's so off the wall and yet so grammatically correct. Osmosis. Let's see if we can justify Ossie. Oh goodness, it is. I said it. I said it might be. I just haven't heard of it. Yeah, see, Ostdeutsch, it says, is East German. So Ost, I did remember correctly, was the word East in German. But I just hadn't heard of an Ossie. Also see a Wessie. Is that someone from Yeah, that's from West Germany. So they had Aussies and Wessies, apparently. What else did we want to look up then? Ramsons. Ramsons turned out to be right as the wild garlic. There it is. Usually in double plural form. Ramsons. Wild or broad-leaved garlic. Wow. Originally the plural of rams, now a dialectic word. I mean, this is completely absurd. Muntjac. I mean, we can look up muntjac, but I'm very comfortable. I know what that one means, so let's look it up. Muntjac. I didn't know it had a different spelling. There we go. Southeast Asian deer. Well, it's not only Southeast Asian. It's Southeast London. I'm not really in Southeast London, but just south of Southeast London. That's where my muntjacs live. Anything else? Is there anything else there that's... I'm probably missing one or two that I was intending to look up but didn't. I'm forgetting them now. I'm sorry if I haven't found your favourite. Sine, we might as well look up, or sine as in the mathematical function, and sine, cosine, tangent, etc. But sine in Latin without. So yeah, there was Latin in this to an absurd degree. But I'm quite pleased to get through it. I forgive myself this, especially as I didn't submit it with the leaderboard. I've been so furious if I'd submitted this with leaderboard, having done it as fast as I could, and then I'd made a typo, having got the rest of this nonsense into the grid. That would have been infuriating, but I mind less. Because I'm doing it today, so it was a good day to have a typo. Let me know in the comments how you got on. Let me know if you enjoy these videos. Let the algorithm know if you enjoy the video by perhaps giving it a thumbs up. That would be most appreciated. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.